I was cleaning up around the house recently and I came across this old netbook that I bought years ago running Windows XP. Now I haven't used it for years and I just thought it's too pretty a thing to throw away, but it's not really very powerful running an Atom Z520 processor, but I'm sure there's something I can load on it that'll work. Linux is usually a good choice to replace an operating system like Windows XP and potentially breathe new life into an old netbook. But in the case of the Z series Atom processor, the machine is just too slow even to successfully run Linux, as you can see from the lag in launching pretty well anything. FreeDOS is an open source operating system which supports the MS-DOS application programming interface, and as its name implies is available free from the FreeDOS website. The one that I used was the USB stick full installer, which include both the operating system, range of games, programs and other useful programs, including BW Basic. Even though the Atom processor in the Acer is barely more powerful than a microcontroller these days, it certainly boots DOS very quickly. The application I thought I'd start with is BW Basic. For those familiar with the Basic story, Jeff Graham originally started with the BW Basic with the view that he might be able to port that to the PIC32 processor. It turned out that he had to rewrite BASIC from scratch, but both Basic and BW Basic share a very similar syntax. I ported a program from Basic to BW Basic to calculate the first 1,000 primes. I'd originally written this to compare the performance of various different versions of Basic. I thought this would make an interesting test to compare the performance of a Maximite running Basic and BW Basic running on the Atom Z520. It should come as no surprise that the Atom processor completed the task much faster than the PIC32 microcontroller. Next application I thought I'd try is WordStar. Back in the CP/M and early MS-DOS era, WordStar was the most popular word processing program available. It was quite full function. It had justification, it had spell checkers, it could do mail merges. What it didn't have, though, was WYSIWYG, or what you see is what you get. The screen editor looked like what you would see on a character-based terminal, because in those days, a lot of the time the word processing program was run using a character-based terminal. Lastly, I thought I'd look at some of the games that came with the FreeDOS distribution. One of the earliest first-person shooter games to come out was Doom, and there's a free version of Doom which comes in the distribution. Doom was very exciting when it came out because it gave the impression of movement in three-dimensional space on fairly humble hardware. Now, you don't get much more humble than the Atom, and it's able to run Doom very smoothly and realistically, though at quite a low resolution. But of course, in those days, this was the standard resolution for games. Well, there you have it. The old netbook running FreeDOS reasonably quickly, so I guess I'm not going to be throwing this away after all.